Once a thriving ecosystem of bioluminescent forests and vast, crystalline oceans, it had been ravaged by centuries of unchecked industrial expansion. The dominant species, the Vrix, were a small, fur-covered race with large, luminous eyes. Once brilliant engineers and philosophers, now reduced to scavengers in the ruins of their own civilization. The air was thick with toxic fumes, the rivers ran black with waste, and the last of the Vrix huddled in crumbling domes, waiting for the end. Their leaders had long abandoned them, fleeing on the last starships to seek refuge on other worlds. Those left behind were the weak, the old, and the forgotten. Among them was a young Vrix named Taylin. Unlike the others, she refused to accept extinction. She spent her days digging through ancient archives, searching for any hope, a forgotten technology, a hidden ship, anything. Then one day she found something. Buried in the ruins of an old observatory was a distress beacon, an old interstellar signal, activated centuries ago during the first collapse. To her shock, it had received a response. A human ship was coming. Their rival. The human vessel descended through Zyrus 9's smog-choked skies like a silver specter, its engines humming with a power the Vrix had long forgotten. The few remaining elders whispered in fear. Humans were rare in this sector, and stories of their ruthlessness in war were legendary. But when the landing ramp lowered, only one figure emerged. Captain Elias Vance was a tall, broad-shouldered man with dark, weathered skin and sharp green eyes. He wore no armor, carried no visible weapons, just a small device on his wrist and a pack slung over his shoulder. Taylin was the first to approach, her fur standing on end with fear and hope. "You answered the signal?" she asked in broken Universal Standard. Elias looked around at the crumbling domes, the skeletal figures of the Vrix watching from the shadows. His expression darkened. "Yeah," he said. "I did. The truth. Elias wasn't part of any rescue mission. He was a lone scavenger, a drifter who had stumbled upon the ancient distress call while mining derelict ships in the asteroid belt. He hadn't expected survivors. But when he saw the state of the Vrix, something in him shifted. "You've been left here to die," he muttered, kneeling beside a wheezing elder. Taylin nodded. "Our leaders took the last ships. We were deemed unnecessary." Elias clenched his jaw. He had seen this before. Species turning on their own, the strong abandoning the weak. It was the same story on 100 different worlds. He stood abruptly. "I can't save your planet," he said. "But I can save you." The escape. The Vrix had no ships, no fuel, no way off-world. But Elias had his vessel, the Starhawk, a modified frigate barely big enough for a crew of 3, let alone the 24 surviving Vrix. "We'll have to make it work," he said, already pulling schematics up on his wrist display. Taylin and the others watched in awe as he worked, stripping the domes for materials, rerouting power, reinforcing the ship's hull. The Vrix helped where they could, their small hands weaving wires and patching leaks under his direction. But time was running out. The planet's core was destabilizing. Seismic readings showed massive eruptions within days. On the final night, as the ground trembled beneath them, Elias stood at the edge of the landing pad, staring at the horizon where the sky burned red. Taylin joined him. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "You don't owe us anything." Elias was silent for a long moment. Then quietly, "Because someone once did the same for me." The last flight. The Starhawk lifted off just as the first quakes split the ground open. The engines groaned under the weight, but Elias pushed them to the limit, weaving through collapsing structures and geysers of molten rock. Inside, the Vrix clung to each other, their luminous eyes wide with terror and wonder as their world died beneath them. Then silence. The ship broke atmosphere, leaving Xyrus, 9 behind in a final cataclysmic eruption. For the first time in generations, the Vrix saw stars. The new beginning. Elias set course for the nearest safe port, a trading outpost on the edge of human space. The journey took weeks, but the Vrix adapted quickly, learning basic, helping with repairs, even cooking, though Elias had to politely decline most of their attempts at human food. Taylin became his unofficial first mate, studying navigation with an intensity that amused him. "You're a fast learner," he remarked once, watching her plot a course with surprising accuracy. She smiled. "We were once explorers too." When they finally reached the outpost, Elias negotiated passage for the Vrix to a sanctuary world, a place where they could rebuild. As they prepared to part ways, Taylin hesitated. "You could come with us," she said. Elias shook his head. "My place is out there," he said, nodding to the stars. "But if you ever need help again, call me." She bowed deeply, a Vrix gesture of gratitude. "We will never forget you, Elias Vance." He smirked. "Just don't make it a habit." Epilogue: The Legacy. Years later, on a small green moon in the Andromeda sector, a thriving colony of Vrix welcomed their first off-world traders. Among them was a human merchant, who stared in amazement at the bustling city of glowing spires and lush gardens. "You built all this?" he asked. The Vrix guide nodded. "We had help." At the center of the city stood a statue, a human figure, one hand outstretched, the other holding a star map. Beneath it, a single word in both Vrix and Basic. "Remember." And somewhere, deep in the black, Elias Vance smiled.